Hi Steve, nice
Hi
to see you.
Anton, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Look, we'll get to the football in a moment, but it's obviously been a difficult week, sporting-wise, for the City of Nottingham. So I'm just wondering sort of how it's been after the passing of Adam Johnson.
Well, as you said, really tragic story and situation that unfolded. From a game of sport. So we were in the hotel before the Liverpool game when we found out, and it was obviously the talk of the meeting room, and everybody was shocked and saddened, players, staff, and just as I said, it's really, really sad situation. So as a club, we want to show our respects on Sunday, and I know we got some things planned. And in times of difficulty, and this is obviously tragic what's happened, this is the city that does really come together, and obviously in a sporting sense. I know a lot of the sporting clubs around the city, us included, have really sort of come together and shown the rightful respect. So heart goes out to Adam's family, and beyond that, his teammates and staff and all the people that he's worked with, and we send our best and our sympathy, and as I said, on Sunday as a club, hopefully we can do our little bit in making him proud.
Thank you. Steve, let's get on to the game. First off, just obviously, I just want to ask, we all know the recent run of form. Just wondering how happy you are with how the team's playing and the progress.
Yeah, I think you live in the moment, obviously, and you reflect on the last game and try and get ready for the next game, and that's the normal cycle. And if you don't win a game, you're disappointed. And obviously the opposite when you win, and quickly have to focus. So I think alongside that, you also have to sort of take a deep breath and think about how we're doing in general. And we are in a much better place than where we were this time last year. We're definitely in a better place than what we were 2 years ago. And when you think like that, then you realise that even though sometimes you can be disappointed with a result or a performance, but actually, on the whole, the club is making progress, and I don't think we should lose sight of that. So, of course, we want to win every game that we play, and we'll be disappointed when that doesn't happen. But I don't think we should lose sight of how much progress we've made over the last couple of years, how much more we need to grow as a club to really be competitive at this level. You can't do that after just being in it for 12 months of Premier League, and we have to appreciate that, but we're giving it a good go. And for me, that's the exciting bit. That's the best bit of the challenge, is that we know we've got a lot of growing to do as a club, as a team, and everything around that, but that's why we're here. It's been a challenge for the last 2 years, but a brilliant challenge, and then that doesn't continue. So we're tackling it head on, and when you're doing it at a club like this, where it's full of great support and passion and history, then it makes it even more exciting. So like I said, we'll always be wanting to win the next game and disappointed when we don't, but we're also not going to lose sight of how much the club has grown over the last couple of years, because it's been an incredible couple of years, really. So we want to work really hard to continue that progress.
Yeah, you talk about the excitement. The fans are obviously excited about the potential of this team. The owner's excited about the potential development of this team and this club. Does that bring an increase of pressure? Does it bring on you?
Well, I'm excited. I share that excitement and that ambition, but also realistic about where we're at. And that's the bit that we have to work on every day and not look too far ahead. And with the players, it's just about committing to the way we want to go about our work and how we want to work, how we want to play, and and the culture we want around the club, knowing that if we get every day right, it gives us a chance of growing, as we said, to really be sustainable at this level. And like I said, it's only our second season back in the Premier League. We feel like we're in better shape than what we were last season, so that means that we've made progress. But we're also not going to get carried away with trying to go too fast or being disappointed if it doesn't feel like that, because that would be unrealistic. So, like I said, we are really committed to our work. We really want to do well. We want to progress from last season. At the moment, that's currently the situation, so we've got to keep that going. And if we're in that same place at the end of the season, then again, it'll be another productive year for the club, and it will be the third one on the run. So, but a lot of work, a lot of games, a lot of ups, definitely some downs, and we won't get too high or too low on the journey, and keep going.
Finally, for me, you're coming up against Villa, who are flying at the moment. How impressed have you been with them this season?
Well, you have to be, in terms of the results and the form and everything around that. So you can only say positive things about Villa, and we know it's going to be a really tough challenge. And there's a really good example of a club that's been in the Premier League for a few years and have taken the time to really look like they're going to become something. So there's a good reference point there. So it's a tough game, but it's one that we're really looking forward to. I think it's one that we need in terms of the challenge at home. And for sure we have to be ready, but it's been a really good week. We're really clear about how we want to go about the game. It'll always be about us in the amount of success that we get in the game, and we'll be looking forward to it. Thank you.
Ivan.
Hi, Ivan. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Just on Villa, what is their greatest threat at the moment, do you think, for you?
Well, I think at the moment it's probably on the back of form good form always comes confidence and momentum and all of these things that we all strive for, which you really only get from really positive results. So I think we are getting up at a time where confidence will be high, and they're very much in sync with how I want them to play and the tactics that they adhere to. You can see that's very clear. So we get that, but this is the Premier League. These are the type of challenges that you get. We've got to be our own version of ourselves, and hopefully a good one, and take the game to Villa.
Recent history, by comparison, it's not dissimilar to Forest. Villa, Forest have both had domestic success in the recent past and European success around about the same sort of time in moderate history going back. Are they an inspiration to you, a model to follow, if you like?
Well, I just said in the previous question that they are a good example of a team that has slowly improved over the course of time. I'm sure without studying it too much, there's been some ups and some downs along the way, and at the moment they're doing really well, playing in Europe as well. So you can see that the progress has been good. So as I said before, there's definitely a reference point there with Villa, that a little bit of patience and a little bit of realism along the way, that you do get better over the course of time. And so it's not a bad one to look at, but we've got to be focused on ourselves. We're like I said, a few years behind them in terms of status in the Premier League, and feeling the benefits of just being in the league, and the revenue that comes in and how it allows you to build. But if we can sustain that for a few years, then hopefully we can continue to progress as well. And that's what I said before. The last couple of years, really all we have done is progress and improved and got better, and we're really committed to continuing that.
Obviously, you've been in the game long enough. There's a million opinions out there, and a million.
There's more than that.
Many more than that, maybe.
That's just today.
That's just today. But what do you say to those that look in, have an opinion, seem impatient for the club to go quicker, faster, to greater success?
Well, I think our strength since over the last couple of years, has always been just to really think internally, and sometimes I use the term about staying in our bubble and not trying to let anything come in, and that's when we've had good moments as well. Because let's not forget, although we're disappointed we've not won for a couple of games, we're still in a much better position than what we were last year, and as I said, the year before that. So it's actually quite a positive place to be at the moment. Definitely the training ground for sure. Through the last couple of years, through all the good things that we've done, which completely outweigh the negative things, we've just, as I said, carried on with our work, not got too high, definitely not got too low, committed to what we believe in, and trusting that will serve us well over the course of time, and that doesn't change.
So a glass half full, glass half empty approach. You're 5 points.
Glass half full.
And, well, you're actually, for those that say you're 5 points above relegation, you're actually 5 points off the top 8. What differences do you need to include in your approach to tip the balance towards the top?
Yeah, I think it's it is a good way of looking at it, because the sort of, you look at maybe not the last game against Liverpool, because that's Anfield and everyone knows about the bad luck we had with player availability at the top end of the pitch, which made it even more difficult. But the games before that, you know, we could and should have taken more points, and we've talked about the reasons for not doing that. I'm not going to go over it again. But if we had, then we would be, you know, in a much stronger position in the league. Although we wouldn't have got carried away with that, because so the answer to your question is just the marginal gains, and sort of really trying to not let go of the small opportunities that come your way every week. And if that's managing to get a good away win against Palace and not throw away a lead against Luton, then they're good examples of the difference that they can make. But we're also not, as I said, going to get carried away, good or bad, with either of them things if they've been positive or negative, because that's just not the way. We've got to look at things in general. I repeat, the club has been on a massive upward stride last couple of years. You know, I know people won't lose sight of that, even though like after a good result we won't get too high, after a poor result we won't get too low. We have to continue to work hard to keep that progression going. And if at the end of this season we can say there's progress again, then it'll be a brilliant 3 years, you know, and knowing that there's still a lot more to come, which is the natural process of time. But day by day, game by game, that's our work as a coaching staff and as a team. Hoping that, you know, the work's good enough to continue that progression.
Great. Good luck.
You too. Thank you. And that.
How's the team looking? And I don't ask about injuries, but how's Taiwo?
Yeah, Taiwo's, you know, I'm not going to hide behind it, because obviously we've seen that, you know, he hasn't been available. He's a player that we have to manage. He's in a bit of a complex situation with his injury, and it's an ongoing one, and it will be for a little while. So it's frustrating for him more than anybody else, because, you know, he was doing so well, and this has really held him back. And it's not been as simple as he's back training and he's fully fit. It's something that's going to be a managing process for a little bit of time now. So we'll see if he's available for the weekend. We hope he is, but it could go either way, and we'll see. Danilo's back in training, not quite in full training yet, but not far away. So he will hopefully feature in the coming weeks. And everybody else is the same. I think injuries. Yeah, we didn't pick up anything on the weekend. A couple of illnesses in the camp. Yeah, but we were as we were really. Yeah.
Do you think the group now has settled down, sort of 10 games in? How is like team spirit and mood? Because there's been a lot of new faces again.
Yeah, team spirit's brilliant, and I think that's been the best bit. Certainly since we've been in the Premier League, with the amount of new players that have joined us since return to the Premier League. Last season was talked about a lot, but even this season there's so many new players in. That's one thing that's been great, really. There's never been questions of real togetherness amongst the guys. There's a bit of a common ground, really. There's so many new players. They've had that shared experience of coming here as a new player, and probably accelerated relationships quicker than maybe you normally would. I guess I won't say the downside, but the watch out with all of that is like you said, is trying to become a team on the pitch, and that's the transition that we're in. You know, we're really trying to find a settled team now. The players can build connections, and you know that's been scuppered at times with injuries and form as well. And naturally, players will be left out, or will pick up little injuries and things like that. So, but we really want to try and settle everything down now, and build good connections and relationships on the pitch that can really help you then, you know, going into these games that against teams that have that, you know. So yeah, we're going through that, and it's some of it's going as we'd like. Other bits are taking a bit longer, which is probably why, you know, that you've seen in the performances, some of the performances have been, or parts of the performances have been excellent, and other times there's been a little bit of a moment where, okay, it does look like it needs a bit of building, but I think that's normal. What we've got to do is keep going, keep looking at the good things that we're doing, address the things that need to get better, realise where we are on the journey. That's a big one for us, knowing that it's going to take time, but be competitive to pick up as many points as we can and win games, because that's that's what we want. You know, that's certainly a home. I think somebody told me since October, I think we're unbeaten 17 out of 19 home games. I think there's only City and Liverpool have bettered that, and that's because, you know, we've really engaged with the fans. They've really engaged with us. We've tried to do our best, and they've got behind us for sure. And that's been the strength of the club at home. So we've really got to hone in on them things, see that there's loads of good things that's happening at the club, and keep going.
A strength, but sometimes do you think the expectations have been raised so much that you know, there will be a few grumblers if you draw at home, but like you say, you're on such an upward curve as a club, the expectation maybe has been raised.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the expectations are really, because everybody will have a different opinion on that. I think what I have to do is, for sure, there's nobody more ambitious than me. Not saying anybody's any less, but there certainly won't be anybody more ambitious than me in terms of what we want to do as a team and as a coaching staff, etc., etc. But I also realise that there's parts to fulfilling ambition, to fulfilling potential, and there's a journey. And for me, that's the best bit. There's always been the best bit here. Is what we can do as a club. And like I said, you know, you lose a game against Liverpool or draw a game at home, and of course nobody will be more disappointed than me if things weren't as they should be. But I've also got to be the one and go, okay, well, hang on a minute, look how far we've come, look at, you know, where we're at, but excitingly, look at where we can go, you know, and that's the bit that I keep reinforcing to the players, that they've got to continue to work hard. They've got to keep going. You know, this could be an important era for the football club, and the 2 years already. And we want to keep that going, you know. So more than anything, it's really exciting, and we're really confident, really committed, and can't wait for the next game.
Brilliant. Just one last one from me. Villa will be tough, they're a form team. You know, how much you need those fans to sort of help you push you over the line, because they've done that so many times, but it won't be easy this weekend.
No, well, no Premier League game is easy, but one thing that we've had through, you know, good, bad, middle of the road performances here is unconditional support. And, you know, I've spoken quite openly that, you know, we've seen other teams and clubs where, respectfully I say this, where the atmosphere and the support hasn't been similar to what we had, or have, sorry, I should say. You know, I say had, I'm referring to last season, where some of the runs that we went on last year and where we might have been in the league doesn't normally equate to the support that we were receiving on a match day. And in the end, that was a massive help to, you know, finishing where we did in the league. So everybody knows that. As I often always say, we've got to do more than our best on the pitch to make sure that we earn the support, because we know that we get it, and we're very fortunate to get it. So we'll never take it for granted, certainly not entitled by it. We've got to continue to do our best, you know, to try and earn it, because when we get it, which we do unconditionally, it's a massive help. And I think our fans are really proud of the role that they played and are playing, because in some ways it is, you know, in the parts of the league that we've been in, it set us apart, you know, and I know that we will be doing everything to keep that going. Thanks, Natalie.
Thanks, Matt. Jake.
Hi, Jake.
Hi, Steve. You okay?
Yeah, man.
Just a couple of follow-ups from me. I know someone that we've spoken about in the recent past, but Sangaré has made the shortlist for the African Player of the Year award. Just wanted to get your thoughts on his impact and how he's been settling into that. Yeah,
well, first of all, you know, it's always a great recognition to be nominated for an award like that. We obviously have our equivalents in UEFA. So great recognition for him. Obviously, most of that time he was playing in Holland, but now he's here, and off the pitch he's really settled in. He's a good boy, works really hard. I think we've seen some really good signs of what he can and is going to do going forward. And like we've seen so many of these boys that have come into the Premier League for the first time, regardless of where they've come from, experience, price tags, fees, whatever you want to call it, expectation, you know, Premier League takes getting used to, and some get there quicker than others, and for sure, you know, he's on that journey. But we're really happy with him, because he's a really good boy in terms of his work ethic. He's really engaged, and he's going to be really important for us and the club going forward.
Like you say, he is on that journey and he's very new to the club, but do you sense that there's still a lot more to come from you? You sense there's a lot of...
I think there's so much more to come from the team. I think there's so much more to come from every player, because that is the makeup of the squad. That is where we're at. We're not a team at a club with loads of like games and seasons together as a group. We just haven't had the opportunity to do that. So I think it's a question for or an opinion for every player and the team in general that hopefully we can stand the test of time and really becoming a team and building them connections and them relationships, whether it's in the back line or midfield or and because that will help in games. So I think that's a generic question for everybody about that's where we just are with our journey. We're not at the start, but we're definitely nowhere near being established with a lot of these teams that we come up against are. But that's where we want to get to. And for me, as I say, that's the exciting bit of the challenge. Certainly as a coaching challenge. And, we're really committed to becoming that, because if we do, it means we'll be making progress, which is what we want to do. We've progressed from last season, definitely progressed from 2 seasons. So let's hope we can keep it going. Thanks, Jake. Come on.
Jonathan.
Hi, John.
Have you got a decision to make with your goalkeeper this weekend?
I think we got a decision to make with every position. I think you asked the question because Matt obviously made a mistake for the 3rd goal against Liverpool, which was a real unfortunate one, and one that gets highlighted even more because of the type of mistake and the position he plays, and it results in a goal. So I think that's your question, really, and I appreciate that. It was a mistake for sure, but I think if we weigh up, all of the good things Matt's done compared to, mistakes for goals, then the positives completely outweigh the negatives. And Matt held his hands up for the mistake because he's that type of guy. It wasn't the only mistake on the day, and there was mistakes made the game before, and there'll be mistakes made in the future, because that's just what we all do. We do good things and we make mistakes as well. But he and we will grow from that and get better. And also we want to be a team and a coaching staff that when people have made mistakes is support each other, and not criticise too much, not sort of isolate people. We want to bring people closer together, because in the end, everyone's going to make mistakes. So, but Matt's trained brilliant this week. As I said, we reviewed the game for what it was, including that goal. But the strength of anybody really is how they bounce back from mistakes or setbacks. And I've no doubt that Matt and other people, will do in the future as well.
Sure. I've got time for him on Chris Wood as well. Do you know how long he might be out for?
Woody's obviously has a hamstring injury, and I don't think we'll see him before the international break. That's for sure. And then obviously it's 2 weeks after that. So I think the next time we'll see him will be after the international break.